Welcome back to the Tracy Take, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Ryan and I to do our predictions for Super Bowl LVI. That is Roman for... No, wait, no, it's not. That's whatever. 56th Super Bowl in this great NFL season that we are having, and it is going to be against the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Cannot believe...
It's just LVI.
Huh?
It's just LVI.
What did I say?
I don't know.
I thought I said LVI.
But you tried to explain it.
Well, but then I made the mistake because it is actually Roman because I thought it was Greek. But then as I was saying, it's like, no, wait, it is Roman numerals. Yeah. So I was correct.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
There's a Georgia public school education for you right there. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But now that we will get serious, Ryan and I, we have a goal of trying to get to 400 subscribers by Sunday. We are sitting at 335, so we might be a little bit short. So if you have not already, help us out in any way possible just to get to that goal. And if not, then I guess we'll just move the goal to another time. We'll get there eventually. But so share this video, subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment, and let us know who you think is going to win. Are you going to be like The Simpsons and pick the winner? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up because it is kind of creepy that they predicted. Have you seen that?
Yes.
That is insane. If that is the final score of the game, and we won't, I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to give it up. But you need to go look it up. Absolutely insane. If they get that correct, because when they made the prediction, there wasn't even an NFL team in LA at the time.
No, yeah.
Like that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for swearing. It's a family-friendly show here, but it's fucking
crazy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
If they get that correct, that would, I mean, I think that would just seal it. He'd have to be a time traveler.
Yeah. There's been rumors already, but let's get into it. So,
do you want to get serious now?
Yeah. Let's get serious now. Let's stop talking about time travel and Roman numerals. Let's talk about football. We're 2 minutes into this. We haven't said a damn thing about football.
I'm just so excited. I can't believe believe the Bengals are here. Like, and Bengals fans would say the same thing. I see these videos of the fan reactions of when they make the Super Bowl, and it brought back memories of when the Falcons made their run for me personally. Like, it was fun to see because you see these markets and no offense, but like when you see New England. They made it 10 Super Bowls out of 21 years. It's like it's literally every other year.
9.
Nine. I'm thinking
Tom Brady.
I'm thinking of Tom Brady. Okay, well, still 9, and then Tom Brady makes it. And then there's just kind of this aura with the fan base, and with Tampa Bay, it was cool because it's not a big market team. But you see a lot of these franchises who they just for some reason year in year out. They are just middle of the road, maybe. Like the Bengals, they made the Super Bowl 32 years ago, and they haven't won a playoff game since. Like, I don't think Carson Palmer ever won a playoff game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, Andy Dalton never won one.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're even here, I think, is a win in itself. But honestly, like getting to learn and watch kind of Joe Burrow grow and develop into the player that he is, he's not going to be satisfied unless he wins.
Oh yeah.
It's very rare that you see somebody with the competitive drive that Joe Burrow has, and I think the NFL right now is very lucky to have, I think, 3 major guys, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and now Joe Burrow, that all are willing to go out and compete and put their body and limbs on the line to get a win. And I think Joe Burrow in his second year is just becoming the epitome of winning. Mm-hmm. And so I really think that the Bengals, while they might be outmatched in a few aspects of the game that we'll get here in a second, just the fact that Joe Burrow is their leader and the fact that he is so much sorry, there are dogs barking. And the fact that he is so willing to give so much to win, I think gives the Bengals an edge. In this one. So I guess with that being said, what do you think the Bengals have to do in this game primarily to come out victorious?
Protect Joe Burrow. I mean, because that's my we're going to get into all the skill position players and who I think is going to have a game and players I think I will be betting on. I think to cover certain overs or unders.
Yeah.
But if the Bengals want any shot to win the game, is they have to protect Joe Burrow. They have to stop Aaron Donald and Von Miller. Because we were talking about this before the show. So the Rams have 50 sacks on the year. The Bengals have given up 55. So that would make the Rams third most in sacks, and then the Bengals
third worst
in sacks allowed.
given up.
And as we saw, they scraped away a victory against the Titans thanks to, I think, some poor play calling and some poor offensive performances by Tennessee. I don't think they should have won that game, especially giving up 9 sacks. And now I don't think the defensive front for the Rams is as good as the Titans all around. And definitely, I would say better than the Chiefs. But still, just the presence of Aaron Donald, and then you still now you have to worry about Von Miller and the trade that they made and how great of a trade that was to give him another weapon or a partner in crime on the other side of the ball. It's just going to be so much for them to think about, and they need to protect him as best they can, and then do what they did to get here is get the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands quickly. Throw the ball to T. Higgins, to Jamar Chase, set up screen plays with Joe Mixon or Samaje Perine. And I mean, that is what they have to do. I mean, it is as simple as that. And so, what else do you think they have to do?
For me, it's establishing the run game. I definitely think getting Joe Mixon out in space. And letting him match up with these linebackers is definitely in their advantage. Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon is one of the more underrated backs in the league, and I think in the quick pass game, especially early on when they're going to be running screens, trying to make these linebackers think a little bit more about the horizontal aspect of the game rather than just being able to come downhill and hit Joe Burrow or hit Joe Mixon in the hole. Mm-hmm. I just think Joe Mixon is going to play a crucial part in the early half of this game, because if they can get him going, they can set up play action, make that defensive line have to take an extra second, and just allow Joe Burrow to have a little extra time. For me, I think both defenses are going to be overmatched in the secondary, but where I think Los Angeles has the advantage is their defensive line. You have Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and then actually Leonard Floyd, who I think could play a big impact in this game because he's going to be the guy who's going to get the most one-on-one matchups of all three of them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a really interesting battle up front. And also, too, it sounds like CJ Uzoma is going to play, but he's not necessarily known for his blocking. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. I forget who their second tight end is, but if maybe they keep a tight end in just to kind of help and do some max protect packages. So,
well, that's what they started to do against the Chiefs. To feel like even if they knew it was going to be a pass play, they would even bring the running back up and just put him on the right side just to help out with the right tackle and the right guard. And it's really, honestly, is with that combination of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. You want to have as many people out there, but if you're having seven guys to block 4, that is. Then now they have 7 guys that only need to cover 3. And so that's going to be really tough. And, of course, I think that running back normally goes into a check down eventually, just helping them briefly. Yeah. But that to me is like they want to talk about X factors. The X factor is going to be the offensive line for the Bengals.
Yeah. And really, for me, it's the right side of that offensive line. If you look at it, actually at left tackle, Jonah Williams is fairly solid. Quentin Spain is also fairly solid, but you get to center Trey Hopkins and then right guard Hakeem Adeniji. I'm not sure if that's the actual correct pronunciation, but both of those guys are averaging a 50 grade together. One is a 51.4 and the other one is a 58.4.
Yeah.
So just that part of the line right there, and that's where Aaron Donald is going to dominate in that interior. And then you have one-on-one on both tackles now with Leonard Floyd and Von Miller. So that to me is just a matchup I think the Bengals want to try to keep to a minimum, and just make them have to second guess themselves, because I don't think they're going to beat them personnel wise. I think the only way they can do it is with scheme. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Well,
so we've been talking a lot about.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was going to say that's what they've been doing against the past 2 games that just get to this point, And so I think Zach Taylor's done an amazing job and just giving them the opportunity. I'm blanking on the defensive coordinator. He has done a phenomenal job. He'll be a future head coach. I mean, I think he's earned, especially with what that defense was last year. I mean, adding Trey Hendrickson has been a huge help. But Moving on to, we talked a little bit about it, and you mentioned it a little bit, how Joe Mixon's going to play a huge part. And I think that's a great point, because one of the shocking things, especially in the NFC Championship game, was how dominant the Rams' run defense was. When you look at that 49ers team, who builds their whole offensive game plan around running the ball, that defensive front seven showed up and stopped the run. Yeah. Really took the 49ers out of their game plan. So if they're able to stop the run, which I don't think should be an issue, especially considering how weak the offensive line is, it's gonna make them one-dimensional. It's gonna make Bengals one-dimensional, and that's exactly what I think the Rams want. So that it's gonna be easier to play calling design, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah. And so one of the things, too, early on in that game, so the 49ers did get ahead, but Jimmy G made a few errant throws in the beginning. And I also think, too, that they weren't able to take, because of that, they weren't able to take advantage of the Rams being in some more loaded boxes, because they were more focused on stopping Deebo Samuel out of the backfield than they were on George Kittle catching a crosser. And so I think Jimmy G missing a couple throws in the beginning was definitely a crucial piece in that game plan. And I think the Bengals aren't going to let the Rams get away with that. Yeah. And so we've talked a little bit here about the Bengals and kind of what they need to do to win. Briefly, before we get into our predictions, what are some things that you think the Rams need to do to come out on top of this one?
Well, so one thing that a lot of people haven't talked about, especially just in the postseason, just because they've been coming up with timely picks, but that Bengals secondary isn't elite. I would say maybe they're average at best. Where they've gotten a lot of benefit from is because their front four has been very dominant. Trey Hendrickson has had a year. Same with the defensive tackle that hurt his foot in the wild card round. Oguma. Anyways, but he also had 7 sacks on the year, and the same way with Sam Hubbard as well, has had a solid year as well. That front four has been really dominant, but that secondary is not very elite, and they're going to have the impossible task of somehow stopping Cooper Kupp and then Odell Beckham Jr. As well on the other side of him, which is probably, think about how great that story. I mean, like, Odell Beckham has had so much hype around him, but just seemed like he was kind of going into this journeyman status, as kind of like what could have been receivers. And I honestly think, because there's going to be so much attention on Cooper Kupp, and Odell fits so well into that offensive system, I think Odell Beckham's going to have over 100 yards in the Super Bowl game.
I agree with that. 8 catches over 100 yards, I feel like, is where he'll be.
Yeah, 8 catches, 100 yards, because I think so much attention is going to be put on Cooper Kupp, and he's still going to get his share. But if Tyler Higbee is still a little banged up, Van Jefferson is a solid third option guy, but I mean, he doesn't have the elusiveness or I think just the creativity of the Odell Beckham Jr. just finding space, and then when he gets the ball, what he does in space.
Yeah, and that's I think both of these secondaries are just completely overmatched with the receiving core. Outside of Jalen Ramsey, the Rams secondary, in my opinion, is not very strong. And granted, I mean, Jalen Ramsey has the ability to take a receiver and just put him on an island, but I think that's going to be a really tough situation for both secondaries to handle. Yeah. For me, I really think if the Rams can just have a couple long-lasting drives, keep that offense on the sideline. We saw that they started slow in Kansas City, and if they can do that, I feel like this game is going to go in their favor. I don't see them giving up the lead that Kansas City gave up. I think this offense is too explosive. Not that Kansas City's not, but I just think that they're going to be coached better. They've been here before, and I don't know. I struggle to see the Rams really blowing a lead if they get one.
Well, and that's where we talked about this. This reminds me so much of last year, like future Hall of Fame quarterback moving to a new team, and because the old team he was on was never really that good, and so no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But it was like future Hall of Fame quarterback going to a team that has all the weapons that they have the solid defense. Well, I wouldn't say young coach, but a great offensive minded coach, just new venue. took a little bit of time at the season and the beginning of the season to kind of get used to things, and then after their bye week, things just turned on, and they haven't missed a beat since then. Have been on the road to win games. Had to beat their division rival, who they lost to twice in the season. Like it's so similar, and then they're going up against this team. The only difference really with this AFC team is minus the Cinderella story. We all expected Kansas City to be there. But if you look at their team, lots of offensive weapons, very explosive. Defensive line, solid, but everywhere else on the defense is kind of weak. And then a weak offensive line. If we remember Kansas City's offensive line last year, they were just Ndamukong Suh, and then who's the other guy?
Devin White.
Devin White. They were all just having a field day with that offensive line.
The other one?
I'm blank. There's another big guy.
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Jason Pierre-Paul. We're all just having field days.
Yeah.
And
Levante David.
I think that's it. I think that is going to be, if that happens, it'll be more with the Rams doing it. I don't see the Bengals blowing out the Rams. I can see that happening here. I hope it doesn't. I hope it's a great game, but I can see that happening here as a possibility.
I think the Rams are going to blow them out, or it's going to be a close game. I don't see the Bengals blowing it wide open. But I think, to kind of get into predictions here, I think there is something to be said for a team that, in my opinion, has had to overcome a lot in the Cincinnati Bengals. No one expected them to be here. They really had to overcome this offensive line in every game. I mean, not that Tennessee and Kansas City's defenses are that great, but they have pretty good pass rushes from Chris Jones and Frank Clark to in Tennessee you have is it Jeffrey Simmons?
Yeah.
And Danico Autry, and then Harold Landry.
Yeah, Harold Landry's the one.
They have a bunch of guys, and so I think it's something that Cincinnati has been doing for a long time, and I think the Rams are going to come out aggressive, and I actually think that Cincinnati is going to get a lead and kind of hang on to it. And so for my Super Bowl 56 prediction, I have been betting on the Bengals for most of it. Actually, I picked them in the AFC Championship game, and I picked them against the Raiders. I don't think I picked them to beat Tennessee, but I'm gonna pick the Bengals here. I just think they have a confidence to them that is going to be hard to match, and they've already been overcoming this offensive line deficiency for 3 games now in the playoffs. So I'm going to pick them. I'm going to go with the Simpsons. I'm going to say 34-31.
Oh, you spoiled it. You spoiled what the score was going to be. You spoiled what the score was going to be.
That's what I'm doing. So
it is interesting to definitely be here, because it's like no one expected this, but it's a much more fun pick, and I think it's like everyone. It's funny what I do for my personal work. I have a lot of customers in the Cincinnati area, and I've been talking with them all week, and they're so excited for it. And it is fun, as I mentioned earlier, when just reminded me of when the Falcons went, just because it is a smaller market. This is a lot more special, for these fans here for the city, and I think the smart pick has always been the Rams. And they're favored. They're 4.5-point favorites. I think one bet I'm going to do, I already mentioned Odell Beckham. I think he's going to have over 100 yards. I'm going to probably say over 80 is what I might bet. I think T. Higgins is going to have over 60 yards. I think he's going to have a game as well. But I think that I am going to be boring, and I think I'm going to agree with you. And I think the Bengals are going to win. And this is, I think, the dumb pick, but I think I'm picking with my heart here. I think I want to see the little guys do it, the team that just has never been there before. And also, especially, too, one reason why, because just stick it to the owner of LA, because that place is going to be packed with Bengals fans. Like, it is an absolute joke that it is in SoFi Stadium. It should be a home game for the Rams, but none of their home games over the past month or 2 months have been home games for them because so many people from opposing teams go and buy those tickets, and there's going to be packed out with Bengals fans. It is going to be a home game for the Bengals fans because the city wants to be here. I don't think it's going to be like that. The prediction that you said. I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring. Because I think just the way the Bengals play, I think that they can just kind of grind it out, similar how they did against the Titans, against the Raiders as well, and with the Chiefs. The Chiefs, they came back on, so I was wrong about that. But that being said, it's still all relatively lower scoring games. I think it's barely going to get over, which is going to be 48.5. And I am going to go with a 27-24 victory. I think Evan McPherson is going to kick another game-winning field goal.
Hey, I honestly, in the league right now, there might only be one or two kickers that I would probably take over Evan McPherson kicking a game-winning ball.
Yeah,
he's made 3, hasn't he?
Well, in the playoffs or no?
Yeah, or 2. He's made 2.
Yeah, one against the Titans. The Titans one was the more impressive one because that was like a 53-yarder. The Kansas City one, I think it was inside extra point range, and you're like, this guy should make
31
it.
yards. Yeah,
and stuff.
But yeah, like I am very excited to watch this. I think the Bengals are going to surprise a lot of people. Who the hell knew that Cincinnati would be in the Super Bowl right now? Like they at the beginning of the season, I'll have to go back and look at the odds, but like they had to be going off at like 60-1, 75-1.
Oh, way worse than that. To go, way worse than that. 60 to 75-1 would be something to like a potential. Like the Browns, I think would have been around 60 to 75-1.
No, the Browns at the beginning of the year were like 12-1 to go to the Super Bowl.
To go to the Super Bowl or to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, to go.
Maybe 12-1 though. I mean, I don't know. That's a separate video, I think, but.
Yeah. But anyways, it doesn't.
That's a separate video.
just the fact that Cincinnati is here, they have a couple holes that they need to fill in the offseason, but I think they're going to have the cap space to do it. So that look out for their season review, shameless plug. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this season.
The final
of the Tracy
final
take.
Preview.
The final preview
of the season.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. Tyler and I are trying to hit 400 subscribers by this Sunday. So even if it doesn't happen, we would appreciate everybody that can help us get as close to that goal as we can. So if you could hit that subscribe button, we would really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win on Sunday. And thank you guys for giving us a great season. We appreciate all of you, and we will see you guys next time.